Hey, hey. Welcome into rambling therapy sessions lightly based on comics, but not really based on comics because we'd rather just talk. So I have my I don't know, co-host. What do I even say? I have Dank Comics here,
Hey
and
everybody.
yeah, and we're gonna get straight into it. The topics that I was kind of pitching were time allocation and like what is success basically. I don't know if we'll like get super in depth into them, but we'll see where it goes, and I can give a little background on why I decided to pick that. So I recently learned it was really interesting. It was a person who was basically explaining life, but in the terms of like a video game, and
hmm
he was like, just so you know, the final boss is you. Like you are your own final boss. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. And then he literally took every game term, like PvP or co-op. You can choose to have a co-op game. You can choose just to be PvP. You can just be PvE and stay away from everybody. I just thought it was creative how you can take just different aspects of your life and compare it to like actual like your life.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim?
No,
You didn't see
I
Scott Pilgrim versus the
I
World?
didn't. No, I didn't.
I think just because of what you just said, you might
Hmm.
want to watch it.
Okay, yeah,
And you have to
I'll note
wait
it down
all the way to the end for it to
for the
make
payoff.
sense.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I think you'll love the movie. I think Scott Pilgrim versus the World is really underwatched, underrated. People might be a little find it problematic now, I guess, because
It's,
there is sort of
how
a
old is it? Did it not age well or something? It
no,
says
it's just one aspect of
2010.
Scott Pilgrim. The story itself is like
Got it.
he's like 20 something and he's dating a high school girl.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's. I feel like that's more acceptable now than it used to be.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, cool. I could either buy it on Amazon or stream it on a site.
Yeah, but it's got an ending. It's really related to what you just said, and yeah,
Cool. I
I don't
just, I
know, but
just, I thought it was fascinating to like look at your own life differently. Where I was trying to measure. Oh, something that really, really rung true with me was he. I'm not sure if there's any gamers out there or understand like gaming technology, but he's like the meta's changing. Like the normal is completely dynamic and ever evolving. Like your normal, the stereotypical rules that you have to follow are changing daily. And you have to adapt to them. You can't just sit around and say, oh, well, like that's just like the problem that happens and I just got to deal with it. You know what? I'll just avoid it or something. Like you adapt to the changing meta. And I found that really, really interesting as well.
wow. So you're okay. So there's a whole big video game metaphor to
Yes, to
explain
life.
the yeah. Um, the most interesting part of that the thing that really speaks to me is the part where you talk about your enemy, you're the big boss, you're the end
Yeah,
boss
you're
or
the
whatever.
final boss basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sort of like that. I think we have to change the way we frame reality in order to really change reality. Because if we like give up and we decide that the shit sandwich we were given is the shit sandwich we're gonna eat, then you're just gonna eat a shit sandwich.
Yeah. And you're like, why not turn your sandwich into something else? Maybe like a not shit sandwich.
Yeah, you say no, I don't want a shit sandwich anymore. But people like the reason people don't know it is because they've been living in a shit sandwich restaurant.
Yeah.
So they just get shit sandwiches, and the trouble is realizing you actually have to leave the restaurant, and that's I think that's actually harder than people realize. And
Yeah, that's a fair point too. Jeez.
And then you try everything you can. You add mustard. You just don't want it to taste like shit so much. You're adding. You're like maybe no salt this time, or maybe it'll dull the flavor. You're trying. Maybe a wrap instead. It's not working. It's like you gotta leave the restaurant. And
I love
it's,
those metaphors.
I feel like
Yeah,
the
no, I'm with
restaurant
you.
is like your a lot of times your parents or really traumatic experiences as a child.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, yeah. Your environment.
I recently learned that sorry, my this is new. I'm still itchy because just grew in. But I recently learned that a lot of your trauma is stored in the animal side of the brain. There's like and this is from the book Your Body Keeps Score or something. I didn't read the book, but I heard the guy giving a lecture,
Okay.
and he says, and he's a neuroscientist, and he said a lot of your trauma and traumatic events, your brain doesn't rationally remember them. It's stored in the more animalistic side of your brain, which is where fear and like, you know,
So, like
it's
your
more about
amygdala.
your body. It's more about your body, but
Okay.
that's where those memories end up getting stored because your brain, your rational mind cannot process the trauma or it will break. It will break the brain. So your body to protect you, your brain will push it into that other side of the brain. And what people don't realize is they're not very connected. There isn't a lot of neural pathways between those two sections of the brain. So, a lot of people do talk therapy, but there
Uh-huh.
seems to be like a limit to talk therapy where like I can lay out, okay, this is what you should do, and you're like, yeah, I get it, and you get it, and we can rationalize the trauma and you can understand it, but you still repeat the same shit because it's in the body. Like it seems the unconscious mind and the body has more access to the traumatic memory than the rational mind. And so he started to like encourage yoga and
Okay.
somatic work, body work to tap into the trauma mind because your body needs to know it's safe. So basically, like when you're dealing with triggering things, it makes
Okay.
the body's nervous system go nuts, and it's like, and you're like rational, like no, but I'm over this. This shouldn't be, but it's still happening because you have to retrain your body and
Yeah.
go from the body mind approach instead of the mind body mind.
That's interesting. Okay. I'm trying to. That was at least from my perspective, that was broken down so it's very palatable and I'm trying to think of like which parts of the brain because you talked about the amygdala basically, which is what regulates fear.
Hmm.
Um, See, I don't know if I want to get super technical. What you're saying does make sense, but like I'm trying to rationalize it in my head with like what little we know about the brain in terms of like neuroscience and like the
Hmm.
central nervous system and how like
I
we
mean,
like literally through my studies
yeah,
we don't know that much about the central nervous system like at all. Neck,
yeah.
brain, spine,
Hmm.
good luck. Everything's connected is basically what you need to know, and we don't know what those connections are, how they go. We try to measure them through like what is that, functional MRIs, where they
Yeah,
measure the
right.
electronic
Yep.
pathways through
Hmm.
neurotransmitters. But
Yep.
that's interesting. I agree with what you
Well,
said basically, but
well, the
it
thing
took
is,
me a
like,
second to get there.
we've been using therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like not helping. Like,
Fair.
I wonder if, like, I mean, therapy is very valuable for people that need it, and in fact, I think everyone should go to a therapist. Let me a few caveats. Like, everyone should go to therapy. I don't.
Absolutely.
Everyone should. It doesn't matter if you think you're normal or neurotypical. You should probably go to a therapist. And if your insurance covers it, please just do it. Give yourself a break. Like, you get to do that. It's free. Um, but I think unfortunately a lot of therapy is designed to make you a functional cog in the machine too. It's sort of like being functional means being able to just make money for capitalistic purposes and stuff.
Yeah,
And
get you squared away so that you could go back out and continue working.
so you don't
I
cry in your
yeah.
office. So like as you're doing data processing, you stop crying because all your coworkers are uncomfortable that you cry while you do data processing. So maybe we could shove some pills into you, and then you can like no longer care and just data process and make that
Yeah,
money.
yeah, keep on going out there. We'll fire you unceremoniously when you turn too old or start like having too much money, or you've gotten too many raises, so we're gonna have to let you go.
This comment is interesting. Me too. I destroy myself to the foundation, rebuild myself for whatever good remains, and adding new stuff. So,
Absolutely, and same with
sometimes,
Mama Wolf is what she was saying,
yeah,
that she changed herself many times.
sometimes it seems like there's people that are so close to understanding themselves, but they don't quite go all the way because they're just too comfortable. Almost, it's almost like they actually almost need to suffer more to like realize, like, oh shit, I gotta change something.
Which is nuts to think about. Like
And that
I
happens.
don't
Yeah.
like what's rock bottom to you? I don't know if I've hit it because like there's been lows and I've gone lower. I don't. Is it just
No,
where you
no, I
decide to
don't think
make a change? I guess.
you. I think rock bottom is
Uh-huh.
necessary for people that don't think they have a problem.
Okay.
I think
Fair.
once you
Yeah.
accept that you have to do work, you're kind of like you hit the bottom. You're bouncing
Got you.
now. Um, but there's a lot of
Okay,
people
that's
that
fair.
don't know they're like they have narcissistic personality disorder. They're horribly selfish. They think the world is all about separate competition, all that stuff. Yeah, brain chooses the path of least resistance. Yeah, it does.
Yep. What happens when you have no fear?
Yeah, but I guess so. A lot of people say like remove the ego. Don't no egoic thinking, and then I'm just like, then what's the fucking point of the ego? Actually, like if everyone's so anti-ego, what was the point of the
Yeah.
ego? And I think it's the ego is made for your human body to eat shit and fuck. All right, and
Okay.
this urge to eat shit and fuck is so powerful because it's the body mind that when it can take over the rational mind. Because in Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, he talks about how like there's this illusion of rationality. Like people think, oh yeah, I wake up in the morning, I read my coffee, I drink my coffee, I read my newspaper, and then I do the thing, and I'm
Yeah.
rational. But like usually, like if you're living this very like repeated stiff existence, it could also mean you're in a lot of fear. Like
Yeah.
because very few decisions are rational. The only time you're really rational is when you're like blind in the dark and you're trying to figure out. Like, generally, if you're in like a remote mode, a lot of it is emotional. There's like an emotional underpinning for all your actions. But when you're only rational when you don't know what you're doing, that's when you're truly rational. Because then you have to be like, oh, you have to really process with your rational mind, more engaged. But most processes don't use that rational mind.
Fair. Because we're driven by emotion in a sense. We're I feel like a lot of like I don't know, does that get into like genuinity? Is that even a word?
It should
Where
be a word. I think we need more genuinity in this company.
I'm trying to think like when somebody is what's it called when you do something for somebody but you expect something in return? What is that? Uh
I call that transactionalism. I don't know what
okay.
other
Um
people call it.
would transactional
Reciprocity. You expect reciprocity.
reciprocity or yeah, you expect something in return. The Would that also relate to something that's like an emotionally driven decision? Does that correlate, I guess, to what you're saying? Because I personally, I
Oh,
kind of want it to, but
yeah, because you're scared you'll lose everyone. You're scared you'll be alone if you don't play the rules. That
okay.
everything's transactional. If you don't play by the rules, everything's transactional. You're gonna be alone,
I've
and
just
no
seen
one's
a
gonna
lot of
like you.
people. Yeah, well, okay. Like let's from an outward perspective, me looking at you, you are a very giving person, and you don't expect things in return. It's almost like you give for the sake of giving. you're still able to accept when things are given to you, correct?
Yeah, not only do I accept it, I forget to say thank you. I forget. I'm like so when I get a gift, I'm like, yeah, I deserve this.
Okay, good, but
Like
like, no, there needs
honestly,
to be a
that's how I
balance.
feel emotionally. I say thank you, but emotionally, or when people thank me, it doesn't feel right to me because I honestly think we're one. So
Okay,
we all are the universe. We all
yeah,
exist in this
we're
moment.
Stardust. Yep.
So when I do something for you, it's for us. That's why when you thank me, I'm
Oh,
like,
okay, fair.
wait, you're thanking us for helping us? What?
Yeah.
Like
Why even
I've
bother? Why waste your breath?
yeah, it's so part of my like programming now that it throws me off when people thank me. And then
Okay.
when people give me shit, I like forget to thank them because I'm just like, or maybe I'm a psychopath. I don't know. Um,
I've been trying to parse that out for a while, whether or not like am I crazy for wanting to change myself, or am I crazy for staying in a situation that I'm not happy in? Like, where do you draw that line? That's not even
I'm
like
sorry.
a
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
yeah, you got it. Am I crazy for wanting to change myself, or am I crazy for not changing myself and staying where I am, even though I know I'm not happy? Like, which is more crazy? Like wanting
No,
to
you.
break the mold and change society and change yourself and be a better person and remove yourself from that environment that we were talking about earlier, or am I crazy for just dealing with stuff and not and just having repetitive things like every
It
Friday I go to
depends.
Applebee's? Like, I don't know.
So, setting boundaries is good,
Hmm.
and oh shit, oh man, I had it. The last part, the last thing you said. Um,
Well, it's either change myself and be the better change. Am I crazy
mhm.
for wanting that, for wanting to be the change in society that I want to see? Or am I more crazy for just sticking my nose to the grinding stone, working a 9 to 5 job, being repetitive every single day, sticking in an environment that I know I'm not happy. But in the back of my head, I think, well, when I retire, I'll have all this money and I'll be able to like enjoy my life. Like,
I'm not against 9 to 5 jobs, by the way.
oh, I'm not,
I
I'm,
yeah.
I'm not saying
So
that either. I
and
was just over enunciating basically
yeah,
to give a little bit more detail.
I just think like if you have it, it's important to find purpose, okay, and
Hmm.
meaning, and it's not your job necessarily, um, because there's a lot of pressure to like follow your dreams, and like people don't even know what their dreams are or whatever. But like
Right?
if you have kids and you have a job and you enjoy aspects of it where you can bring joy to people, and then that the money can be used to help raise your children, and you can give some of that money to give them experiences that could really show them joy and that they
Yeah.
have abundance even if they don't,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
um that's worth any job, that's paying well, as long as you're not being totally exploited at the job, or making money for no reason, where the money is just to get more money. And I don't know, it's like I feel like people model themselves off of like super successful people, or
Hmm.
you either want to go for super success or like you're dead or you're broke, and I'm like, there's like so much in between,
Yeah.
and
Well,
we
perfect.
underestimate, and manual labor requires all these levels of intelligence that so underestimated, which really annoys me. Like with academia and how they kind of study like work in like intelligence in the workplace only for like corporate heads. They don't really go because there are people that are
There's like
studying,
business management classes, but where are
but
the classes? Well, there's trade schools for kind of like the manual labor
yeah,
stuff.
but they need to really show the beauty of it and how it requires so much intelligence. So because right now, if you're like good at trade school and you open up a little woodworking shop in Brooklyn and like you sell to hipsters, you could be like a millionaire making money off of the yuppies working dead like horrible jobs they don't love. and they're
Yeah.
paying you exorbitant amounts of money for your handcrafted woodwork, and you didn't have to go to get a freaking master's degree to hate yourself. Like, because that happens. Like you see these crafts people catering to these, yuppies, and it makes me kind of like, and they're treated with such respect too. I guess I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I
That's
eat to
right.
feed the body, but fast many weeks. Sex has never been, is not of interest that much to me. Shit is just what must come out.
She's
Yeah,
saying she
because
must
the
be from
body,
a
because you
different
have the
planet.
body. It's like, so
Yeah.
like we had scarcity in reality, like in biological nature before society, before
Yeah.
civilization. We did have scarcity. That's why um, you hunt the meat or whatever, you kill the meat and you eat as much as you can. And you get like so full because you're not gonna get meat for 2 weeks, right? Or you see
Yeah.
the sweet sugary berries and you eat like you eat the whole bush. You can barely move because you're not gonna eat berries for another month, right?
You're like a
So
bear trying to
we
hibernate.
we have a program to kind of consume it as much as possible to survive, but
Yeah.
now we have relative to that abundance, but the programming's still there to consume as much as we can, and that confuses us. And then that scarcity mindset that we had programmed into us from like surviving nature, it still exists, and that's
Absolutely.
exploited by corporations to make you feel like you don't have enough and you need more and you're not enough and I need to buy this to feel complete. And
I
but
totally
yeah, staying
agree.
in a bad situation is definitely bad. And I only stick it out with people that are problematic if I love them.
Okay, fair.
So
That's a good, yeah.
I had a friend and he like wanted to, this guy whatever I coach, he has a collaborator that he collaborates with for a long time, and he has to let that collaborator go because he wants to level up, and the collaborator is sort of like okay with mediocrity, never tries to get better, so he's like, I need
Yeah.
to leave this person, and then he's like, oh, I want to, but I kind of want to tell him all the stuff that he did. And I was like, well, why? And no, I told him, well, do you love him? Because if you don't love him, why bother? Like,
Yeah, why are you
if
putting
I
this much
yeah,
effort into it? Yeah.
and if I want to go through the pain of trying to affect change, I have to love you. And if I don't love you, I'm not gonna waste a breath on making you change. Like, if you're a scumbag and I don't even love you, go be a scumbag. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. But unless you love them and you know that, or people are a little neurodivergent, so they got certain issues, and you add because you love them, you're willing to go through some of it, and um, but if you don't love them, I don't know what the point is.
Fair. Um, I'm not sure I understand what neurodivergent means.
Anyone
I mean,
with
I could.
diagnosed with a condition, like a
Okay.
anybody, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
neurotypical is people that a psychologist is like, oh, you have nothing wrong with you, and neurodivergent is like,
Yeah.
yeah. But to me, neurotypical is it's to me, because maybe because I'm biased because I'm neurodivergent. I think neurotypical is a little nuts because I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
this
that's kind
the
of what I was
world
hinting
is
at.
nuts. If you're like
Yeah.
stable in an insane world, um, that's really weird to me. That's scary to me because if we live in a world where like men in suits get together in a room and they're like, all right, let's let's mass murder these people, and they're like, yeah, mass murder them, and they just watch people get mass murdered, and then and then
Casually.
and then you drink a diet coke. Like, we're fucked. We're this like there's something off, like, and to act like that's normal. Like,
Yeah.
if you're drinking a diet coke, you're a part of it. Like, I'm so annoyed with like hippy dippy folks in the city in New York being like, oh, capitalism sucks and nature is good. I just want to then get the fuck out of here. Go live in the Himalayas. Because you're part of it, brother. Like, if you're here, you're
Yeah.
part of it. Don't act like you're above it. No one's above it. If we're here, we're part of it. So I let's work as a community to lift us all up, because
Absolutely.
this famous monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who kind of made Martin Luther King understand the Vietnam thing. He kind of helped Martin Luther King come to his anti-Vietnam stance, and he sort of
Okay.
triggered that in the civil rights movement. He's a Vietnamese monk. He's
Yep.
not. He's alive still, but he said the next Buddha is going to be the Sangha, or the community, because I think, and he believes that, right? Because
Yeah, why not?
when individuals are like, I'm the one with the answers, like everyone's trying to find the one with the answers, the one with the answers. And I'm like, we need to stop that. We need to think we're the community with many different answers,
Yeah.
and that will allow more room to have nuance and come up with more out of the box solutions to things.
Well, yeah, I mean, coming up with answers to questions take it's not just a one person effort. Like it needs more. You need different inputs, different uh perspectives. Um I'd actually like to back up here a second. We slid
Mm.
genuinely into a discussion about success, and we left that discussion, but I want to jump back to it.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with trying to figure out what the proper definition of success is. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, everybody defines success differently. Like it means
Mm-hmm.
something to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to personally like say like what is success? Success is my lack of fear of being able to know where my next meal is. Like I don't have to worry about running out of food, and I have like the basic essentials like food, water, shelter. Like that to
Mm-hmm.
me that's success. And
Yeah.
if I can have that for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
then I am successful. And a bonus would be me being able to influence others and either help others or some kind of positive change. Like I
You know, I,
desperately want to make positive change. Go ahead.
I think influence is been corrupted, the word influence, because of
Fair.
influencers and all that
Oh,
nonsense.
okay. Fair. Yes.
And I would say more like you want to inspire.
Okay.
So like if I talk to Trump supporters that are homophobic, and I actually do in real life talk to like people that are the opposite end of my whatever.
Yeah. I live with those people, so
Yeah. But 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 I don't yell at them. I don't lecture them. Like
no.
never, never,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
I try to first connect with them, have a good time with them, and then maybe inspire like a little shift in the thinking. Inspire, and if
Yeah.
not, then whatever. Um, but connect first, and then hopefully inspire and hope, because again, this is like this is the one of my biggest like equations of life. Um, love and obsession. You know, this is a spectrum. Love is freedom. Obsession is control.
Yeah.
You know, love is freedom to make the choices you want. Obsession is having to control the way they think.
Control is a trip.
Yeah,
Like
but yeah, I know.
for people that like want control. I don't have the propensity to want to control anybody. I have a hard enough time trying to control my own thoughts. Why should I put that burden on somebody else and try to make somebody shape somebody to
It's a
fit
fact.
what I deem as correct? Like, come on, that's ridiculous.
This Mom Wolf says my
That's
enemies are mostly
yeah,
family,
that's
and
super interesting.
I get that. I think that's why it's really important that we make chosen family. I think we're
Yep,
doing that to a degree on YouTube,
fair.
but chosen family, to define what family is to yourself. Like you can judge your shitty family, but it's very different. The way you see them is going to be different if you have a lovely chosen family and you really know what
Absolutely.
family is supposed to be.
Yep.
Then you see your family is just fucking broken, and you're like, oh damn. Instead of hating them, you pity them. I mean, that's what I found. The more you really understand, oh shit, they just don't know what love is. They just don't get. They don't know love. Like, uh, that's yeah. They don't know love. I mean, every like dysfunctional family member I know, I can tell you, like, they do not understand what love is, and I don't
No,
think people do. I don't
I
think
think
people understand.
I think people who want to control other people are trying to make up for deficiencies that they have, and they don't love themselves, and they're dissatisfied with them, so they want to make others feel lower than they do.
You mean
And
family?
yeah, absolutely, that's what I'm relating to.
Yeah,
And
they.
what's the easiest way to make other people feel lower than you? The people that are in your immediate circle, and that's usually the family that you live with and grow up with.
Yeah, you know it's fucked up. Usually, people are like, they're meaner to the people they're close to,
That's what I'm
and they're
saying.
worst enemies. No, but not just
Oh, okay.
family.
Not
Like,
even not even just like, okay, yeah, then they're worst
most
enemies.
people do
Okay.
this, and this is known in screenwriting.
Yeah.
Usually, all the fights are occurring between allies, not like the super bad guy. They don't even show up till the end. It's really like usually like you're fighting all your friends because
Hmm.
a lot of screenwriters and storytellers have noticed it's the ones you're close to that you're more mean to. And to me, that's such a perversion of love and friendship and stuff. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've decided not to ever allow that. And I know it's like normalized to like, or like if I'm with groups of friends and they kind of pick on somebody, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, if they're sort of a group and they kind of pick on. I try to teach that person how not to get picked on, but I will make myself the target. I will like I will set myself up to be the target and let everyone go after me instead cuz
You can handle it.
I can handle
And,
it.
and to a sense, to like you're putting yourself in that situation, so you should be capable of handling more than others. I mean, what that's to me that's an act of selflessness where you're like, all right, well, this isn't going anywhere. Let's just deflect it to me. Like,
Yeah, Mr. Rogers was pretty dope actually. I was talking to a friend today about like the only pure people, pure leaders I've ever believed in fully, and I can
okay,
only name like four.
wow,
And
okay,
I think Mr. Rogers is probably one of them.
really?
Yeah, so now I gotta fight. I mean, I don't
What
know.
were
He doesn't
what
seem
were
to
the
have
other
done
four?
anything. Oh, like Thich Nhat Hanh, the Dalai Lama.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I have a trouble. I have to think really hard because I
Gandhi?
believe there's no, 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 no.
No, really,
Gandhi was a yeah, yeah. Gandhi was a really, really bad person.
really.
Yeah. So near the end of Gandhi's life,
Uh huh.
like last 5, 10 years of his life, after he freed India, okay, I believe what happened was he became like a megalomaniac narcissist because he's like, holy shit, look what I can do. I can free a country. I must be God. So he started to say, to test his purity and his holiness,
Hmm.
he would make prepubescent girls sleep naked with him in a yurt. And then he would come out and he would emotionally manipulate all the little girls, and they would all hate each other to get the privilege of sleeping naked with Gandhi. And then he would, pick a new one every night, and and because his idea was like, oh, if I don't have sex with them, I'm a pure man. So he was
Okay.
some sort of like weird pedophile, and he thought women are not the same as men. Like the way he saw women is very subhuman. There's a lot of problems with Gandhi. And then to get the British to stop hating on Indians, he would talk about how Indians are better than black people. Like he kept talking about the reason you
Jesus.
should not treat us like this because we are better than the blacks. Like he would. This is Gandhi, and Gandhi really allowed for the separation of Pakistan and India because actually there's a lot of accounts of pre-colonialism,
Uh huh.
Muslim, Hindu. No one cared. No one cared what religion you were
That's
actually. And
nuts.
India was the land of a million gods. It was like known for it.
Yeah,
They kind of loved it. It was like what was so awesome about India was everyone was spiritual in different ways, and you could kind of it created this sort of like beautiful place. But Gandhi allowed for them to split, and now they're pointing nukes at each other, and Muslims and Hindus are hating each other in ways that never happened pre 20th century. Not like this. Like what we see now is so it wasn't it doesn't have a precedent. They act like they think there was a historical precedent, but it all started during apartheid. It happened like then, and then oh, is this proven? Yeah, there's accounts. There's a lot of data about this. Yeah, you can look this up. He was looks like he was a pedophile.
that's nuts. I've never heard that, and that kind
Oh yeah,
of
I read the accounts too of the girls and everything. This is like,
that's
and his
crazy.
colleagues at the time too.
Uh-huh.
Gandhi's colleagues and his like political allies and stuff. They're like, "Yo, you gotta stop doing this, yo." They're trying to
Yeah,
tell him to stop because this is like really you're going off the rails. And he's just like, "I am a pure man. I know." It's just like he just was convinced he knew what he was doing, and then he got shot and died. And the Indian government
Mhm.
try to kind of wipe away that history. They're trying to they don't talk. If you talk to people that know Gandhi deeply, they try not to talk about it. If you bring it up, they don't say it's not true. They say
Yeah,
like, I don't know why you bring these things up.
that's
Like
nuts. He almost
they
got
don't
over
deny it.
glorified. Yeah.
They don't deny
Okay.
it. No, he got deified.
Yeah,
They
okay.
turned him into
Fair.
a god. Yeah.
Yeah. Similar in like pop culture in the U.S. Like, uh, Walter Cronkite was like the voice of America at one point, and I'm
Mhm.
like, what are you talking about? Like, this man is not like there are so many accountings of how he would basically say, well, I have this much clout, I can literally dictate anything that I want because what I say is going to be believed by people. And there's actually a book that came out, I think it was
The
2020.
you're talking about the broadcast journalist
Yeah,
Walter
Walter
Cronkite,
Cronkite. Yeah, he was kind
who
of
cried
deified.
at the Kennedy assassination. He cried, right?
Yeah,
That Walter Cronkite.
there's a book that came out last year that kind of talked about like true accounts of who he was and how he just like when he walked onto the news set, he was a god of the news set. Like he was the voice of the people, and that actually ties into Vietnam as well, with the because I think he was casting during the Vietnam War, and like
Yeah.
it's just interesting how somebody can be glorified to a perspective of like power. I don't want to say like a bunch of like like cliches and stuff like power
Yeah.
corrupts and stuff, but like
I don't think
when
humans are meant to be godheads. I believe when
yeah,
millions of people see you as the one with the answers, you
yeah,
actually become a god. Like many
okay,
definitions of what a god is fit with the definition of a super celebrity or whatever. And because people put beliefs and ideas of perfection into
yeah,
humans that are celebrities, right? But it's not real. Like if you're logical, you know that can't be true. Like there's no such thing as a perfect person, but we like Elon Musk is a god, right? Jeff Bezos is a god. Lady
and that's
Gaga
what we
is
were
now a
talking about.
god.
Yeah, the idols of popular culture have now become the gods of modern society, and it's fascinating. I'm not going
But
to
at
read this
that
in an
time,
Arnold voice, but I think a Russian voice
oh,
would also suffice.
success success crush your enemy. I can't do it. I can't do it right now.
I
I
know.
used to sometimes I can do it.
I just don't want to offend anybody.
Oh, Arnold,
But
you gonna offend the Austrians?
I don't know how to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation. But
Crush your enemy.
I basically read it and I thought, well, it sounds very like USSR,
Oh, this
like
is first of all,
crush your enemies.
this line was written. I believe it was written by John Milius, the
Okay,
director.
okay,
And John Milius, he was sort of a script doctor to like a lot of manly movies. He wrote Apocalypse Now as well. He directed
Oh, cool.
Conan. Yeah,
Okay.
and he would come in as script doctor to write like these manly monologues for a lot of movies, you know.
Yeah.
But he was also way overcompensating too in like real life. Like he would always act way super manly tough. Some film school kid. Yeah, he's like a film school kid. He's a part of the Lucas Spielberg milieu, actually.
Okay.
He's one of those
Interesting.
guys, yeah. But he was always like wanted to act like the tough guy badass, and he created this whole persona. Um, I think he's still alive. I believe he had a stroke. He had a stroke some time ago, so he has a little more trouble writing and stuff. But um, yeah, no legal. I can't. What does that mean? My family's broken, chosen. I can't trade what I have for anything else. No, legally, I can't.
Trying to think like
So I mean, the YouTube community is broken. You chose them, or are you
I
talking
don't
about
know.
your little
Actually,
family?
E-Man, if you can elaborate on that, that'd be awesome. I'm a little lost with the comment, the one that I have highlighted right here. I know I'm a little behind on the chat, but because like from
I could,
E-Man's perspective, he's
hmm.
to me he's very outgoing. But
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Please elaborate. That'd be awesome. So, but yeah. Um, Also going back, there was a something that I think we brazed over a little bit. We were talking about how things are taught in schools regarding like business, but then things
Hmm.
aren't taught as much in like manual labor. I want to know if you can like also just like I asked E-Man to do, elaborate a little bit on it.
Well, I for one, I have worked as a barista for like 20, almost I guess 22 years of my life.
Really, 22 years.
Yeah, I'm
Jeez. Okay.
technically like a master barista,
Okay.
but like I could compete for the championship. There's a world champ. I don't know if you know this. There's a world championship.
I had no idea.
There's a world barista championship. It starts with the regionals, nationals, and then you compete against the whole world. So
What? Okay.
I'm technically a competition level barista. Okay. Um,
That's nuts.
Even though I have a literature degree, right?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Similar.
and I love that work. Like, cause like it's not because when I'm a barista, I know what everyone wants all the time. I know I can read the room. I know like who these people are psychologically, what they're gonna do next. I know how to get bullies off of other people. How to, but it's because I've interacted with people so much. Like I had 10,000 hours of human interactions and studying people, and
Which is priceless in my opinion.
and I serve. It's honest work. It's like honest, and you serve, and then people, you know, many people I know, they're kind of like, "Why are you still a barista?" They're like really upset almost that I'm not wealthy. And when I say like, but I actually love the work. They don't. That's not an acceptable answer.
Yeah. Uh E-Man basically said he was just trying to crack a joke and it
Oh,
fell short. Which is perfectly fine, man.
um,
But yeah, and going back to the deification, wicked and divine, I totally agree with you,
oh,
Ignacio. That story does. It's like literally like idols are pop culture stars in a sense. So
mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm. Go ahead, keep going.
no, I don't know. Yeah, it's true. I didn't know that that was the premise of the comic, but that is actually what's happening. And greed is the highest moral value of our country, actually, of the world, actually, because we influence the world. But greed is the highest moral value of the world right now, and people
Yeah.
try to act like that's not true, and that's I think that's a lie. It's definitely what it is.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no
you
doubt.
know, your way or the highway. You get yours. Treat yourself. Like all these like and then when you actually are selfless, people think you're stupid. Everyone thinks you're stupid. I,
Or that you're gonna
I
get
just,
taken advantage of because you're
or you're gonna,
selfless.
yeah. I mean, that's sort of Dostoevsky's The Idiot. it's sort of like if Jesus came back, like if a guy like Jesus came back, it was alive, he would
Hmm.
be seen as an idiot. It's
That's
like a
interesting.
selfless, loving man, and people just keep trying to exploit him and use him, and they
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
understand him, and
Why are you doing
that's
this? Like you're
that's sort of
just
like the experiment in that book. Dostoevsky's incredible, and
okay.
you've heard of Tolstoy, right?
Tolstoy?
Yeah, no, Tolstoy, Leo Tolstoy, War and Peace, Tolstoy.
Oh, War and
Um,
Peace. That
yeah,
I don't. I struggle with putting names to certain things. Yes, I'm
and he
familiar
wrote
with it.
Anna Karenina, and he wrote different books. So
Okay.
Tolstoy and Dostoevsky are considered the two of the greatest writers of all time, right? But they were contemporaries. They actually lived at the same time. They knew of
Interesting.
each other, but as for all historically, it seems they never met. And Tolstoy was loved and celebrated by everyone. He was a hotshot celebrity, and Dostoevsky was weird. He probably had like borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
He was like he was an addict. He was like a gambling addict because he was also like a political guy when he was younger, and they imprisoned him in the Siberian labor camp, and it totally messed him up. And he came out all
Jeez.
messed up. And then he wrote these novels. He wrote The Crime and Punishment, and he wrote
Yeah,
Brothers
absolutely.
Karamazov. Yeah.
Yep.
And for the longest time, people thought Tolstoy was the better writer. For the longest time,
Okay.
until the 70s. Then literary critics start to re-examine them and realize like, oh, it looks like Dostoevsky was actually better and more complex because, and if you read Tolstoy, right,
Okay.
God exists in Tolstoy's work and is and had plays an active role. So like, if you cheat on your husband, you'll get punished by God. Or he like even says like when women work, they become like decrepit and like because it's against God for women to work. Like he wrote shit like that in
What?
Anna Karenina, and women that worked were like turning into like goblins almost because God was punishing them for breaking the God's laws of like man works, women takes care of the children, and kind of shit, right?
Okay.
And people just like didn't realize like okay they just read it and they thought oh this is great stuff in Dostoevsky's work everyone has different beliefs, right?
Uh-huh.
Everyone's worldview is different. There is no God in his work, and everyone's worldview is as valid as everyone else's worldview. But in Tolstoy's work, like one person's right, everyone's wrong. It's like it's more minimizing, whereas Dostoevsky,
Interesting.
everyone's worldview is valid. And then God just doesn't exist, but he believes in God. He believes in Christian God hardcore, but he
Okay.
also knows what life really is like. It's not a fairy tale.
Well, not at all, yeah.
And today Dostoevsky, I believe, is recognized as the more sophisticated writer. And funny thing,
Yeah.
after Dostoevsky died,
Hmm.
Tolstoy wrote a short story called The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and it reads a lot more like Dostoevsky. He starts to write like Dostoevsky a little. There's like a
Interesting.
shift in the way he writes, and I believe he knew how good Dostoevsky was. And everyone loved him and shit, but he knew, like, he's like, shit, the guy that everyone ignores, I think he might be better than me.
He starts to embody him. That's
I think that's what happened. That's my theory, but
okay. That's fine.
because
We can leave it
deep
as a
down, he
theory.
got all the
Yeah.
popularity, but deep down, he knew Dostoevsky was better.
Gotcha.
That's it's pure speculation, but
That's
that's
fine.
based
Yeah.
on
No,
my
I'm into it.
analysis of the.
Um, let's let's swing it over. I want to talk a little bit about time management because it's something that like it's something that I'm good at, but also struggling at in the sense of I'm working two and a half jobs.
Mhm.
The half job is like pursuing hobbies and stuff like that and like
Mhm.
actual passions. Um, and it's interesting in the sense of I have time. Like yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
Spent the entire day playing video games.
Okay.
Absolutely enjoyed myself. Had
Mm-hmm.
a great time. It was a good reprieve, and I
Mm-hmm.
got to talk with all my friends, or not all my friends, but like my video game friends. I lead like multiple lives, uh, but yet I'm still available for work the next morning. Like what I did right before this was I
Wait.
jackhammered up
You're
a
a
bathroom
celibate
floor.
time traveler?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wondered if that was you, but
that's it's. I've been
you're
caught.
the celibate time traveler on Minecraft.
That's
Okay. All right. And sorry, what were
that's
what were you
right.
saying?
No, no, you made me. And I where do you find yourself with balancing pleasure and I feel like I overindulge where yesterday was literally just all video games and I watched a couple TV shows and I did nothing. I was supposed to get a lot of things done because it was day off, but I found getting more enjoyment out of doing nothing and actually just like focusing on myself. I ate some good food. Like I don't know. I feel like this overwhelming pressure to, and this kind of ties into the success stuff that we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this overwhelming pressure to rise to my potential, which everybody's
Mm-hmm.
been telling me since I was like a little kid, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But then the cynical part of me wants to like not do any of that stuff and blaze my own path and prove everybody wrong in a sense. But it it kind of self destructs. Like I self destruct, and that's where the anxiety starts setting in because of
Mm-hmm.
expectations, which we've already talked
Mm-hmm.
about. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to hear our talk on expectations, it was literally the episode before this. Um, but I found myself trying to be a better person, but it's the little successes are what get me. Like if I can accomplish one thing, like I took a job at a comic shop, like that to me that's a success. I'm
Mm-hmm.
helping somebody. I literally took the job in the sense of like, hey, I want to help your shop. He had lost all his employees except for like one,
Mm-hmm.
and I desperately wanted to help him out, and it's going swimmingly in a sense. And but it takes away from time from like my passions and my hobbies, but at the same time I wasn't doing anything. It's so easy to get distracted, and I've literally started embracing the fact that I most likely I have an attention disorder basically.
Oh yeah, me too. I do too. Yeah.
And it but then our society, and going back to what I was saying earlier, is like the meta is changing. Our society is more leaning to like look at the
Well,
content
I'm
that
sorry.
comes
Hold
out.
on. I
Yeah.
don't understand this phrase meta.
Meta. Okay, so meta is normal. The
Oh,
norm, like what works.
okay.
Meta in the sense of I come like I said, I
Where's
come
that
from a
from? Where's that phrase from?
it, it's from like video game. At least for me, it's
Oh,
from video
okay.
games. Like the meta is like what characters are everybody playing? Is everybody playing? Are
So,
everybody playing?
like, if I
Is
said
everybody playing?
zeitgeist, that's like the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Weird. Same phrase. I could start saying zeitgeist. So the zeitgeist is changing, and I am trying to embrace myself. And then I realized that media, in a sense, is changing at the same time to favor people who have an attention disorder. Like, look at TikTok, look at Tumblr, look at endless scrolls. Like, everything's an endless scroll. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can't find the bottom of it because there is no bottom, but they're spoon fed to you in little bite sized samples as you go through it. And that caters to the people who have the attention disorders. So all of a sudden we become the people who were vilified in a sense become the new zeitgeist, the new
Okay.
meta, the new
You're.
normal.
I'm gonna stop you for a second because you're giving me so
Please.
much information.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
One thing is the consumers are more the attention thing. The people
Yes.
creating the media for consumption are not necessarily like that,
Not at all.
right? You know, choreographed videos, and
Yep,
so it requires a lot of thought and work and effort, which is not
absolutely.
necessarily right. Um, oh shit, you were saying so much.
I know.
I'm
I literally rambled for like
no, no, it's
two
okay.
minutes
It's
there.
okay.
That's
It's
fine.
okay. Your main job, right? Is that like a freelance position, or is that you work for someone?
I work for my dad as a plumber. I
Mm-hmm.
work for a comic shop as an actual W-2 employee,
Right.
and I am doing a bunch of side projects, which include like just miscellaneous things like solid state batteries, water filtration systems, that kind of stuff.
So after you're done playing the games, right, and like
Yep.
you know it's over, do you, how long do you feel good for after that?
Good for no, I only feel good while I'm playing the games and interacting with the community. At the
And then when
end,
you're
when I
done, though,
finish, I feel like I
do you?
wasted a bunch of time.
Okay, so the thing about like the work of creation, um,
Yeah,
is it's painful, but the payoff, it resonates, it stays in your bones, and you feel good afterwards.
okay.
So yeah, it just takes more work and pain, and but the payoff is long lasting and feels good. Whereas the video games is pain less,
Yep,
joy, but it only lasts during the gaming. It like
absolutely.
doesn't go beyond the gaming, right?
No,
And
it's abrupt. When you stop
but
playing it, you
also
stop engaging. So
but also like when you do that, just like don't like allow yourself to do that too. Like don't punish yourself for it, because
yeah,
that will
why
create
not?
some sort of weird loop.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm with you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about time management. Like everybody, like how do you manage time? Like
um,
you are a
not
barista, you literally do all these things. You have a YouTube channel, and where do you find time for like yourself? I guess is what I think that the people watching this video would really love to hear. So all jokes are an illusion.
well, certain drugs, certain psychedelics. I would have to say though, yeah, drugs are pretty. Most drugs are whack.
Uh huh.
Um, Psychedelics can be also used too much, but generally speaking, people don't do that. Like people don't usually do psychedelics a lot because
Yeah, it's
it's not that kind of it's not that kind of drug.
no, it's an
And
experience.
what it can do is give you a glimpse of unity consciousness, or like
Okay.
if you do it in a medicinal setting, if you do psychedelics in a setting that's more clinical or medicinal, not just to have fun at a concert, but like to sit down and do some inner work, it tends to sometimes give you a glimpse of unity consciousness and that we're all love. But you actually experience it for the first time in your life. It's not like in a happy idea that you wish existed.
Yeah,
You are it for this moment. And then when it's over, when the psychedelics are over, then it's your job to work towards that, to bring like integrate it, because they talk about integration in psychedelic work, and integrate that into your life. And yeah, so you know, you just got to start managing your comics, do the thing. Do it when you feel inspired. Like
awesome.
I
I
try to
like
do
that.
things when
Like
I feel inspired, and
absolutely. Yeah.
but I also don't create this like reward and punishment system if I don't do stuff too, because I know a lot of good people, and they're unconsciously like secretly punishing themselves for not doing things, or doing like good people too, and they're like
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
they're punishing themselves. It's like, dudes, don't. There are fucking assholes out there, you know. Like, don't punish yourself. Don't, not
Yeah.
you. Like, um. So, cause like you know, you said you felt kind of guilty about it, you know.
Afterwards, I looked at the clock, and or
Mm.
actually afterwards, I started and it was daylight, and by the time I finished, it was nighttime. So it was very visceral for me, and very like, oh, there goes that day. But
But maybe
I
you
didn't
learned,
feel bad. I didn't
maybe you
feel bad
learned
at
something.
all. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but you're
And
not
that's
gonna
how
do
I
it again.
engage.
Are you planning to do that again?
No,
So there's, in Tibetan Buddhism, there's something called like crazy wisdom practice,
Okay.
where a thing like Judeo-Christian people can they judge shit a lot, and they often like
Absolutely.
judge shit they don't know anything about,
Yep.
like judging gay people for being gay, but like they're not gay, so what the f are they talking about, right?
Yep.
So crazy wisdom practice is where you do it. You do all the shit you want to judge. You actually go and do it. You do it all the way. You do it all the way to the point where you see through it and you see it for what it is deeply, and then it's much easier to let it go. So instead of like obsessing over it, judging it, resisting it, you just do it all the way, and then you see it for what it is, and then you can let it go. Because even the Buddha did that. The Buddha was super rich and spoiled, and then he was like eating nothing and like living on air and shit forever, and then he's like, oh, it's all nuts. It's all really intense, but he realized like the middle way after experiencing that. So if
Exactly.
anything, I would say that video game experience where like it's like the sun is coming up. Like, I had an experience where I was drinking out and then we did coke and shit, and then the sun was coming up, and I was like, man, this sucks. And
Yeah.
I
Where
don't do that much.
where'd this day go? What did I accomplish?
I'm like, yeah, what did
No,
I accomplish? And it's like everyone, I don't know. But I'm not anti video game either. I mean,
no. Yeah. I mean,
I don't play video games, but I'm not
really.
anti. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
video
I'm in the
games are a
Guinness.
trip.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
in the
like,
Guinness what?
I was gonna say I'm in the Guinness Book of Records for like the Korean that played the least video games.
The
You
video game
you
that I play, the best people at it are actually Korean. Like they're
yeah. It's a,
they're just a step above just pure like their server in Korea is a like makes the North American server look like a joke. Like it's absolutely absurd. But yeah,
yeah,
no, I totally agree with you. You are in the Guinness World Record for that
the
purely
least.
alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think you do need time for. I guess you gotta make choices. You gotta make choices and
Absolutely.
set boundaries for like what you want to
Absolutely.
spend your time on. And oh, do you
Oh
need like
yeah.
an account? Maybe you need accountability partners or something. I know a lot of people that helps them a lot. An accountability something something. Like I have a friend. She's doing a memoir, and I read the first draft. She's writing another draft, and she asked me to be her like accountability kind of manager, sort of,
Yeah.
because it helps her. I'm not like that. I don't like people fucking watching over my shoulder, but that helps a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I personally I don't know. I don't think I need anybody to hold me accountable. But in the sense I do that enough myself. I mean, that's where my anxiety comes in and like the stressful situations. I
Mm.
but like let's say that something gets real. In a stressful situation, I feel like at home because I know how to handle it. I know how to like
Well, what do you mean get real?
what do you
Things
mean?
get. Let's say get. You said let's say things get real,
Let's say
right?
that something drastic happens right now
Uh
and I
huh.
need to literally leave this stream, go out and handle like whatever happened outside the
Okay.
room. Like let's
Mhm.
say it's like an explosion. Like I would be
Mhm.
able to react properly. And that goes back to literally what we were talking about earlier when you act in rational thought. I think that we could also add when you're kind of lost or when you're in a high stress situation and you don't have any options, you're only left with your rationale. You don't act with
Mhm.
your emotions when things are literally exploding around you. You act rationally and you have like a sense of self-preservation. um
Or you panic and
that's
you
true. Yeah,
freak out.
you can literally
You get
break
everybody
down and
killed. Yeah.
yeah. Fair. That is definitely the
That happens all the time.
yeah, okay. Huh. Yeah.
Um,
That's terrifying to think of that.
yeah, people do that all the time. I mean, I
Yeah,
mean,
what if you
that is
freeze?
what a stampede is. You know, that
Yeah.
Astroland tragedy or whatever,
Uh-huh.
Astro World or whatever. Like,
Oh, at the
everyone freaked
concert.
out. No one was in trouble. There was actually no danger. Everyone freaked out, and like a bunch of people died. Like 6 people died. This happens all the time. Or like someone sets someone shoots a firecracker going to Mecca, and then there's a fucking stampede, and then 20 people die. That shit happens. Um,
Absolutely.
that,
Fight or flight. There you go. But like,
yeah. Oh man, I hope everyone's doing all right in
get
Kentucky
a
and all that. Yeah.
if geez, yeah. And what we do, at least in California, a lot of people have earthquake valves that'll actually shut off your gas when an earthquake happens.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's what kind of destroyed San Francisco. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was literally gas leaks that created fires that burned
Mm,
everything down. Like it wasn't exactly the earthquake itself. Granted, like freeways collapsed, but um,
that's
geez,
why
now I'm
the
lost.
the subway in New York is underground and the electrical system's underground because they had like a massive storm in the early 20th century, and New York was like shut down for a long time to like, oh, we got to put all this shit underground.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many forest fires like have been started with above ground electrical lines. Like it's
Wait,
ridiculous.
hold on. Did we just No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, maybe they should
Bury your wires.
bury it
Yes.
all underground. Yeah, bury all the wires.
Because then it's grounded, like it has a place to go, like the transfer of electrons actually goes into the earth when something goes wrong, but granted it costs a lot of money and you have to dig a bunch of holes, but
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. These electrical things that set off the fires, they're near the forest, right? So like, why is there electrical things near the forest? Is it because like some people want to just live near the forest? Is that why there's electrical things near the forest? Oh, wait, is this overly simplistic? Is there more nuance to this?
no.
Are we saying the reason there's so many California forest fires because there's like people that like to live in the woods?
Well, like there's lots of
Well,
well
big
there's
one,
not.
that was the electrical box thing, you know?
Yeah, it was caused by Edison, the company out here in California. They had a
But why
transformer
is
blow.
that thing so close to the forest?
They have to get the energy over the we have how do I describe it? There's a lot of transform boundaries in California, which are
Uh huh.
strike slip boundaries between
Wow.
tectonic plates. So those create mountains, and we have to
Yeah.
send the power lines over the mountains.
Uh
And
huh.
it's like literally, I look out my window, I see a ginormous mountain, and I see
Yeah.
power lines going over those mountains. And when those
Right.
things fail, they set the mountains ablaze and destroy
Wow.
wildlife and environment and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually part of an activist group
Why
lobbying
isn't
to
fuck?
protect the environment.
How come
Yeah.
Elon Musk isn't working on this shit?
Well, I can tell you a little bit about Elon Musk. My a buddy of mine worked for Tesla, and he basically said that he's a just a mechanic, and he gets these memos that Elon Musk sends out, and
Hmm.
it's like Tesla is not where he is focused. Basically, like he's not in the production of making cars. He's more in the SpaceX thing
Yeah. Right.
and the what Starlink, which he's trying to get internet to everybody. Like that's where his focus is, and battery technology. That's where his focus is
Oh,
set.
wait. Did he leave California? Did he go to Texas?
Oh, I don't know that much about him.
Oh, okay.
All I know is that through his memos, he doesn't care about the cars. He cares about other things like spaceships and satellites and batteries. So
Hmm.
that's literally all I can provide. I'm not going to say anything that's like not true or anything. I'm just going to tell you what I know and tell you the source that I got it from, and you
I
can
might say
parse it
things that
out
are
however.
not totally accurate, and then I'll admit I'm wrong.
Yes, and that is genuinely, when if you have the ability to admit when you're wrong, that's more valuable than anything, to be honest, because you're willing to make a change. You're willing to take a step back and reanalyze what you said and hold accountability. Like
I know,
that's
but
beautiful.
right now that's not happening in politics and academia because like as soon as you think you're wrong, you're just considered like not an authority anymore. There's so much pressure to always be right, so even if you can't like you have to keep doubling, tripling down on stupid shit in America because you can't be wrong. Like it's just
Well,
nuts.
why don't we hold like weather people accountable? I haven't seen like a weather person be super accurate in a long time, and yet they still have their job. Like,
I mean, I think it just would have helped so much with. I don't know. I wish people could just admit me, and I mean that's why I wasn't. I mean, I've been asked to be an essayist by several people. I've been asked to write a book too, um, but I have a friend that works at GQ, and he was saying like I should be. He's like, dude, why aren't you writing? Because I would explain my social theories and stuff to him, and he's just like, that's fucking great. Why aren't you writing this stuff? I was like, because you fucks have to always be right. Like you can't be wrong. You can't say you were wrong and change your opinion, or you lose all your authority as an
and
essayist. And I was like,
and
that's what
credibility.
sucks. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
playing. I don't want to play that shit. I don't want to play these games of like I'm more right than you are right. And oh gosh,
That's a slippery slope too, because one slip up, you can be right about most things, and then the second that you screw up, you're just vilified for it. I mean, that kind of teams in with cancel culture. Like,
mm-hmm.
oh, like you said this one thing, but it wasn't true. And Ignacio is saying that you should write fiction. Also, Elon is in Texas.
I actually do write fiction. I write screenplays and comic books, and yeah, that's pretty much pilots, film scripts, comic books, and so, I've been told to write a book, so I am going to write a book. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to write I already mentioned this before. I'm going to write a comedy about a cult.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. I'm looking
yeah,
forward
yeah,
to
about a
it.
jaded, cynical PR agent that gets a job working for a cult. And the
Yep.
twist of the show, because all the cult shows, the twist is they're evil. The twist of this show is they're not evil. So the leader is not evil, and it's actually has a genuine purpose and method for changing the world. And
That's a shock right there.
she
That's a
writes a book
twist.
called The Violet Dora, the holy book for this world. And
Okay.
what's it called? So then the show's a hit. It's sort of like Ted Lasso, to be honest. So when Ted Lasso came out, I was just kind of like, oh shit, I can do this. But Ted Lasso comes out, and so sorry. So this show, if it's popular, it's a comedy. I will write a holy book. Oh
Okay.
shit. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you. You're fine.
I'll write the Violet Door, and it's a holy book, right?
Okay.
And then it's fake. So it's this fake holy book written in this fake world I made up. And then if the show's popular enough, it's funny enough, an atheist can take the holy book from this artifact from a pop culture world and read it and take it in fully because it's not real. Because you're saying this is not real. And that's the key. That's so sort of my game was like how do you get a materialist to read a holy book? Or how do you get an atheist to read a holy book? Oh, it just can't be real. You make it not real on purpose
Yeah.
from the outset. And that's sort of the game of the project. But it should be funny as fuck and awkward. There's a lot of awkward comedy in this series.
I'm looking
It's gonna
forward
be
to it. That's for
really
sure.
good, yo. I mean, when it comes out, you'll see. Uh, just write a
This is
book in a way that makes people feel like they came up with the idea themselves, like you were saying. Oh, yo, I do that too. So, if I meet a group of people that I can tell they kind of underestimate me or they're overlooking me, like at like a networking event with entertainment people, right?
yeah.
I will, I will actually play into those stereotypes. Okay,
Yep.
so I'll pretend I'm quiet and I'm just like this, good worker Asian boy, right? And then, when they talk to me, they're like, "Oh yeah, you right?" I was like, "Yeah, I right." They're like, "Yeah, what are you working on?" I'm like, well, I'm doing this thing," and I act like I'm kind of shy. And then I pitch them
Yeah.
something that's so incredible, and they're just like, "Wait, You wrote this? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote this, right? And I create the illusion that they discovered me. Like I play into the stereotype because then it makes them realizing what I am to be like this miracle moment that I have completely manufactured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is next level.
Or and then I act like they were always for me.
Okay.
They always wanted me to succeed because they believe in you. Oh man, we're gonna do this. We and I use we instead of you and me, and then I get them all hyped and I make them believe in me and want to do everything I want, like a fucking cult leader. You know, like
Yeah. I said this from like day one that I started talking to you. You should start your own cult and be very successful.
I can't though because that's just about getting laid as much as you can, right? In the end, that's
Well, wait a second. We just said that there's a cult leader that wasn't about himself, and
oh
he.
fiction. That's my
There we
fantasy
go.
fiction
Okay,
world.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
not
So yeah,
real.
real life. Yeah, it's about murder and sex, I believe, and
It's
control.
usually sex and power. Yeah,
Yeah,
always the dick
absolutely.
comes out. Like oh love, 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 and then the dick comes. Oh, you want to love each other.
Yeah,
We all want
and
to love each other and be together and be one and
I can think of like three off the top of my head, and like I don't want to say them because I don't want anybody to look them up because it's a travesty of a story.
dude, effing
But
Chogyam, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, a very famous Buddhist monk. He's
that
did
was a
little
name.
some questionable stuff, but he had a son named Mipam Rinpoche, who was the head of the Shambhala movement, which
Okay,
Pema Chodron, Pema Chodron, have you heard of her?
no,
She's part of that group. Oprah loves them, whatever, right? So
who's
it
Oprah?
turns out
No, I'm kidding.
that it's not opera, not opera.
Got
But
it.
anyway, it turns out the son, Mipam, was like an alcoholic, like rapist. Like he was a fucking psycho. Yeah,
Jesus.
he was a psycho, a real psycho. They just found out recently. This all happened recently, and then they're like, okay, he's taking a leave of absence, and then like the group leaders are like, oh, he really understands what he did, so we're gonna take him back. And then Pema, who's actually the most famous person in the Shambhala movement right now, she's like, I have to resign. Like I can't be a part of this anymore because
Really?
yeah. And all the people in Shambhala, they all thought they were like the most peace loving Buddhists, and a lot of white Buddhists and stuff, and black Buddhists, but American Buddhists. And it turns out their holy leader is sort of a rapist,
Well, that's like literally
and
the
people are
ones that I
so
was
many people are
thinking of. Is
enabling.
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
know. There's some crazy cults out there, and it always turns into some dude taking advantage of like young children and or just like women in general. Like
or women. Like,
the patriarchy like is so
yo,
fucked up.
so like
Yeah.
if you're like a charismatic leader and you like move people and blah blah blah,
Yep.
people will think they love you romantically because of how
Absolutely.
much power you have. And yeah, if you're a fucking asshole, you could take advantage of that and sleep with tons of beautiful, impressionable women. You
But what is that? What does that get you? I just feel empty in that sense. What
They
is
feel
that?
very powerful. And I don't know, but they also
That's all
they're surrounded
bullshit.
by other people that tell them they're awesome all the time. I mean, that's
That's
so
fair.
addictive
Okay.
when
Yeah.
humans are like, "You're awesome, you're awesome." It's like I don't know, and I don't want to. Oh, play Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aggressively is gonna bail us out of this conversation with I'm part of a positive cult who just plays Star Trek Online.
No, I
But
like the
yeah,
Star Trek, um, the idea of Star Trek. There's no money in Star Trek. Do you realize there's no money in Star Trek?
they don't even have a
Oh, oh,
currency. Yeah, like
oh, you didn't know that? That's like one of the things about Star Trek. There is abundance. There is no such thing as capitalism anymore in Star Trek.
yeah.
So like all the food you need is like printed.
Yep.
Anything you need, you get, and then it's a utopian society that's post capitalism actually. Um,
which is nuts to think about because like Star Wars is very very capitalistic, and it's all about the money and power and control. Like,
well,
that's pretty
it
nuts.
got that way when Ryan Johnson decided to make it no longer for kids, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. No, no. I mean, he really added this whole element of exploitation and capitalism. Did you see The Last Jedi or whatever? Or yeah, Last Jedi.
I've seen all the movies, but I'm still trying to catch up on all the animated stuff. I'm somewhere in the middle of Clone Wars right now, like season 4 out of like 9. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, go. What were you trying to say about it?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely capital. I mean, Star Wars is sort of a. It's just like it's our world, you know.
Yeah,
It's not
it's a
really.
representation of it, like the Senate and everything. Like it's
It's like a reflection, whereas I think Star Trek is our hope.
that'd be awesome. Everybody else
Uh,
thinks that like I mean, why is it so hard? I I don't care. I still think that you would make a great cult leader, especially because you like adamantly deny. There's a sense of a leader needs to have a sense of charisma, but also needs to have a sense of like groundedness and understanding and what's the word? It's like not bashful, but it's you
I don't know. I mean, well, honestly, like I look,
humility. There it is.
all of us can be the guru. We can all be enlightened. All of it. Like it's not like I know, and through me you can know. I fucking hate that kind of mentality. A lot of spiritual leaders I meet, they have this kind of gatekeeper mentality,
Yeah, which is
and you'll
yeah.
meet,
Through me, you can get your access to whatever
dude.
the
If you
fuck
ever
ISA
meet,
is on the other side. Yeah.
this is how
What's
you
up?
know the spiritualist you're talking to is a shitbag. If they start explaining a principle to you, right, and then you're following, you're like, okay, I follow it, I follow it, so you follow it, follow,
Mhm.
and then they go, just like the 237 levels of the I Ching and the blah 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 blah, and they say all this shit that they know you have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They actually
Yeah,
unconsciously they know it, but they just
yeah.
go there, and then you're like, I'm confused. You're like, oh yeah, you know, because you're holding the secret knowledge. You're like unconsciously telling them you are the holder of the secret knowledge, and I effing hate that stuff. Like I think the truth is it's all it. You can literally if you meditate in your house for 2 weeks straight and you don't fucking talk at all and you just meditate, you could end up enlightened at the end of it, at the end of the other end of this shit. Like it is in all of us to access this. That's what Vipassana meditation is. It's like
Yeah.
a 1 week retreat where you don't talk at all. You don't even like socialize and you just meditate like all day and then you breaks and people like day 5 they break down because then they see themselves as who they really are for the first time in their life and they just have these huge breakdowns and then clarity happens like day 7 and you're like a totally changed person and
That's
that's all
awesome.
it and that's how the Buddha was enlightened. He just sat there for 50 days and then he saw everything's like oh but we all have it. So I hate the gatekeeper notion.
Absolutely.
I think Jesus was a man because then, you know, if Jesus was God, like, I really, it bothers me when Christians are like, I tell a Christian, oh, but, you know, that's what Jesus would do. And they're like, yeah, but I'm not Jesus. And I'm like, motherfucker, Jesus was a man. Like, Jesus could have come as God.
You
Jesus
mean
could have
like
been
a
like,
person, right?
yeah, he was a human person, right?
Okay.
But he could have come as God and been like, this is the way it is. And you're like, no, yeah, but I'm not God. But
Gotcha.
the reason it was in a human body was to show you what you can do. It's like
Fair.
I can do it, you can do it.
I think Jesus was a woman because where did the Y chromosome come from?
I mean, he might not have even been real. I mean, that's also a possibility actually. I mean, or he
Fair.
might have been a a combination of several people, you know. But it does seem like there was a John the Baptist. It seems like there's historical data outside the Bible that
Hmm.
so John the Baptist was actually like a really big cult leader. He was actually huge at the time.
Yeah,
And
you've
Jesus
actually
is
I think you've said this before.
yeah.
And Jesus basically picked up the crumbs after him.
No,
And
I mean,
and
well, he was murdered. So
Correct.
He helped keep it going. Like they're kind of well. Then he died. I mean, I mean, technically he failed. You know, technically Jesus failed. It was after his death that anything like significant happened. Cause
Which,
only
yeah,
he had
exactly.
like 2 dozen followers and he died or whatever.
Yeah, he
Um,
wasn't he wasn't a big deal until afterwards.
but
And like
according to
way afterwards too. Like the stories were written.
Reza Aslan, the
Uh-huh.
author of he writes a lot of religious books. He says what the reason one of the reasons he really threatened everyone was because he did all the miracle workers. Like there was a lot of miracle workers, but he did that shit for free, and
Uh,
that's what made him so dangerous. He wouldn't take money for it. That's what fucked everyone up, and that's why he threatened everything because he wasn't getting the money. And
which is nuts,
I
yeah.
wish people understood that. Like people were just as greedy back then as they are now.
Hmm.
So when Jesus said it's harder for a rich man to go to heaven than a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Hello, what the f is this prosperity gospel bullshit? I don't understand what's going on anymore. It's very clearly he's not for a prosperity gospel.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the fuck did the Christians do? I'm so confused by the Christians sometimes. Not all Christians. The zeitgeist of Christians. I'm so confused by them. Um, the Riza? Oh, Reza. Reza Aslan. He's like, I think he has like Middle Eastern origin or something. But he wrote about Jesus and Muhammad and God and stuff like that. He's like historical analysis about how society, how they interweave with society and what they mean to, and how they, their significance and whatnot. But his premise is that the real reason Jesus was killed, I mean, historically, was because he was against the temple system where you needed to be like wealthy to get your sins absolved. He was and he did all the miracle works for free, and it undermined everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't do that separately.
Yeah, but I've met spiritual leaders, right? And
Yeah.
like dudes that are like they're just trying to get laid, and then I'll do my shit, but I'm not like trying to actively get laid, and they fucking hate me for that.
Wait a second. This isn't
Cause I
about
make
like
them look
the
stupid. I make them look really dumb. Like, cause I'm not whatever. I'm just talking about me, but this happens sometimes. I've
it's
been in situations where I meet the other spirit people, and they're like, they hate it because I'm not taking money from anyone, and I'm not taking power like so egregiously,
weird, no
and
ulterior
it
motives.
and it
So
threatens
strange.
the crap out of them, and
Absolutely.
and they start to try to like sabotage me. Some of them, but it doesn't work. I've met more people of color that leaders spiritually they're not threatened by me as much.
I'm trying to think.
That's
Well,
that's a
okay. The
lot. That's
the
a lot
fact
to
that
unpack. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, that was, and we're we're towards the end of this, and you just drop that. Tune in next time. No, I'm kidding. Wow. Just because you don't want the same things, like why does that? I guess it's like a sense of toxic masculinity
No,
where
because oh yeah,
you
toxic
like
masculinity.
need to have control, you need to have like pleasures of the body basically, and you need to have ulterior motives where I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Like everything comes with a uh oh, what am I trying to say? It comes with like it's a give and take kind of thing. Like I do this for you, you do this for me.
It's not
Comes
just
with a
men.
stipulation. Jesus.
I've met women too that are, but generally speaking, in my own life experience, it's usually the white spiritual leaders that get really threatened by me, and it's not the spiritual leaders of color.
Cool.
That's my own experience. I'm not saying that's how it is,
No, and that's not
and
like a blanket statement or anything. I
but
understand.
that's what I've experienced, where it's usually the white spiritualists that really get scared of me, and um, the people of color, they kind of they embrace me, and they're so happy I'm like I exist or whatever
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
I still think that plays into toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but it's it just is what it is. I mean, I don't I don't see anyone differently as a result. I just think that's just what happens in this culture right now, and circumstances of history and stuff. And I get it. I get the whole social political context of why that might be happening and whatever. It's not my problem. What was that?
I don't know what to say. It's yeah. Que sera, sera. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it's other people's problem. Like if you're obsessed with power and whatever, sex and power and money and
Yeah. Good luck,
um
buddy. Like
good, yeah,
enjoy.
do it. I
Yeah.
mean, do your thing. I mean, maybe you have to like go through that to finally reach enlightenment and realize it's empty, and then you fall and then you rise. Maybe that's their path. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. What a
I mean, I
crappy
feel
path.
like I should be obsessed with money because I'm a traditional, like I'm a Korean American. Like our parents most Asians raise their kids to like make
Oh,
money, and
absolutely.
um,
Absolutely. Stack
I
up as much
but
material wealth as you can and
but I
then
got
die
very
on that
lucky.
material wealth.
Some reason I didn't fall prey to that pressure for some reason. So
And
now I see through it. I'm like, what the you guys? This is a lie. This shit is a lie. Unless you're fucking poor, okay, then it's
oh yeah,
different.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and if you're poor, this what I'm saying does not necessarily apply to you. So just you know, please understand. Like I'm not talking about everybody
No,
necessarily.
not at all. None of this is blanket statements what we talk about. We talk about very specific situations and we do it through our own lenses, our own uh, sights, and hopefully these opinions resonate with people. I mean, thanks for stopping in. Like honestly, that's what we're about here, and we're gonna keep going with it. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hope this was entertaining.
I
Are you
I had a great time.
entertained?
I've had a great time
I
every
do
single one of
care.
these.
I do care. I hope it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I want to
Like
be like with the sword. I'm like, are you entertained? You know.
I wanna affect positive change, but through the perspective of what I'm going through on a daily basis, and I hope that it also resonates with everybody out there. So if you get anything from this, let us know. If you didn't get anything from this, also let us know because
Mhm.
I subscribe to haters all the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're
Bring
saying
it.
worth it just to see you, man.
Bring it.
So yeah, and there we go. We're good. Thank you, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week. Later.